Hi, today we are going to learn how to paint sky with clouds and its reflection in the river all in one color, single color. Obviously there will be different tone. I will be mixing colors, but majorly it will be single color. For this image, I am going to use ultramarine blue, which is the darkest tone of all the blue color that we have. To make it even darker, I will use raw umber. It's always a good idea to use raw umber to make the color dark. I mean, for any kind of tone, you can make it darker using raw umber. To give it a little red tint, you may use burnt umber. It will make the tone a little more warmer. So I will use the ultramarine blue. I will make it darker using raw umber. And for lighter part, I will either use to dilute my color with water, or instead I will use cerulean blue. The first part of the video has a lot of zoom in zoom out because of the focus set to auto. Later on it will be smooth, so please stay with me throughout the video till the end. I like to paint a lot in wet on wet color, especially with watercolor. So I will start by applying clean water throughout my paper. Loaded my brush with the little ultramarine blue, and I start from the right corner. The corners are always supposed to be dark, but this is first washed, so it's going to be a little light. In the second wash, we'll make it even darker. So this is just first wash. I'm just applying it. The clouds are, the scene is like the corner and the top edge should have lots of clouds, and it will all fade out near the center. So the center will be illuminated more and the darker color will appear in the near the edges or around the corner. And the same thing will be applied to the reflection as well in the water, which will be in the lower part, obviously. Always make sure to not leave any hard edges. Try to smooth out everything. Whenever you see any hard edge, try to just dampen your brush and smudge it. The lower portion has river, and it should reflect the dark tone of the sky. So from left side and from right side we will have darker tone, and as it will come towards the center it will fade out. So I just take the perfect amount of ultramarine blue, which will make the edge side darker, and it will fade out as I come to the center. I will continue with marking the horizon. As it will complete, I'll start working from the right side. Again continuing from the right side with the edge having darker tone, and as it comes to the middle it will fade out. The horizon obviously will be darker. The color which just bleed out in the upper side of the horizon, that's a mistake. So I will correct that in the very end of this painting, where I will be making the mountains. I will be covering it at that particular time. Okay, now the horizon is clearly visible, so let it dry, and now we'll continue with the next wash of our sky. So I will be applying next layer on it. So I'll again start with the darker tone from the left corner. In nature, everything is random, so obviously there is no perfect shape for the cloud as well. So I leave random highlights here and there so that it appears that the light is coming from behind the clouds. The right side is relatively lighter than the left side, and as I told, for lighter tone I will either dilute the ultramarine blue, or I will use the cerulean blue. So for this particular part I have used cerulean blue. So as I will go from from right to left, then the cerulean blue color will bleed out into the ultramarine blue, and it will be like a perfect combination from going from light to dark. Our skyline is almost complete, at least in shapes. Few more layers will be required to make the clouds appear stand out, so we will do that later. Now take a dry brush and try to lift out some ultramarine blue color, which will again create some highlights within the cloud, and again that will help us, or it will suggest that the light is coming from behind the clouds. Just leave some highlights here and there. Don't try to make things perfect, because randomness is beauty. I will put some more ultramarine blue, which I will lift off later with the same technique, and that will give us the better effect of the cloud. One thing to keep in mind is that we need to do all this while the paper is still wet, because you cannot do this with dry paper. When you are lifting the wet color, make sure then when you are again trying to lift a color, you need to have the clean brush again. Otherwise, it will only pour out the color which is there in your brush from the previous lifter process. That will spill out on the paper like it happened here. You can correct it. There is a way to correct it. You can correct it by again damping your brush, and then after again doing the same lifter process. I'm applying a little more force over here, so it will also give some highlight on the edge of the cloud. now it's time for some mountains. I will start with the very light layer, which will suggest a very distant mountain, and then in the foreground I will make another mountain with dark color. I will start with the right side. The second mountain will cover almost entire paper. So, and since I do not have any sketch, it will be helpful if I just outline it first. But while outlining, always remember that either use a very light color, or if you're using dark color, then you should have a lot of water. I will fill out the entire mountain with light color. That will create the base color of the mountain, and then after I will go on with the dark color. It will actually help me creating the depth in the mountain. I like to first wet out the surface before applying the darker tone, because it really helps me, which whenever I do not want to paint flat. And in this case as well, I need to just leave it. I just need to pour out the dark color and it will bleed out everywhere, and I can just make some brush stroke to highlight some areas, which will help me creating the depth. The lighter tone, which is our base tone, that will create the base of the highlight of the mountain, which will from the distance it will appear that it has troughs, it has some stones, it has some ups and downs. is the time to correct the mistake that we had done. So I will darken the foreground mountain, and I will continue, and it will cover up that beaded area. Now it's a time for creating the reflection of the cloud. Now since this image is seen from very far, so you will not be able to see the exact shape of the clouds in the water. It will rather appear very flat, and it will be like a giant rectangle which will go from dark to light, and it will have some reflections, so some highlights within that rectangle because of the wave, the sunlight which is touching the wave and shining it. So we will have a long flat rectangle which will have highlights within it. In the lighter area of the river, the reflection will contain darker color. So load some dark color on your brush, which should be very thin. I'm using 00 for that, and try to rub it horizontally over the surface, and the surface must be dry at that particular time, and you will have some random spots, random hits with the dark tone that will appear like a wave. The area which is just beneath the mountain, that will shine because of the light in the middle of the sky. So I will put some highlights over there, and I will continue. Now it's time to give the final touch by making out some detail in the clouds and on the reflection on water. So it's done now. What do you think about the final piece that we have made together? Please write down some comment and like the video if you like it, and dislike it if you don't like it. Your response is really needed, and please leave out any suggestion that you have, and please subscribe my channel because I really need it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.